Hey guys, welcome back. BTC Gara here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice Mobile. This is for the week of May the 12th, 2022. The current character challenge is Flashpoint Batman. That is a 1-week challenge repeat, as always. The required characters are Catwoman, Nightwing, and Joker, who are bronze, and silver, respectively. If you're looking at the lowest tier, you can get them. His passive is Dark Justice, which is Batman's special attacks turn off all aspects of healing. Flashpoint characters on Batman's team have a chance to deal increased crit damage. And it used to be Flashpoint characters on Batman's team gain destructive blows, but I think this is
same thing, different description, yeah.
A more detailed way of telling you what it actually does.
Yeah.
It was last available, he has 1500 attack and 1300 health. It was last available on the 15th of July, 2021.
Mm-hmm. And all the characters, the only way the characters could be more Batman themed is if we had a Robin in the game, or if we had maybe Commissioner Gordon.
Well, that's true, yeah, because Catwoman, Nightwing, and Joker are pretty
iconic Batman.
Iconic. Nightwing is technically Robin, right?
Yeah, he used to be Robin. Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
So, despite not having a pack last week to act as a bit of a teaser, here we are, Flashpoint Batman. Now, and I say that even though previous teaser packs weren't even necessarily Flashpoint, sometimes they could have been Gaslight or Animated or whatever, I think. Mm-hmm. They just had to be Batman, but last week we didn't even have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to point out, he's got top tier stats, 2,800 combined in attack and health, and loaded right into his attack.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we want to say anything, most importantly, he is the absolute best basic damage dealer.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Despite having that passive, which is brilliant and amazing, which is the key reason why a full Flashpoint team is so good, because you're doubling the damage from crit hits. So that is brilliant. I think there's probably a little bit of a hidden passive too, where some of, like, a really low percentage of his hits are crit, even if you have no crit augmentations or crit gear. But he's only the best basic damage dealer because his special 1 and special 2 are so bad.
Yeah.
His special 1 has really reduced damage because it has a chance at stun. And his special 2 has a bunch of hits, but it also does very little damage. And so here's the thing. He's the only... The way people rank them in tiers...
Yeah.
And, Flashpoint Batman usually ranks really high, and Flashpoint Aquaman and Deathstroke usually don't when people make those tiers. I think part of the mistake of that is that he's the only Flashpoint character that's great on his own.
He has flexibility.
Right. He doesn't need his teammates to be Flashpoint. He can do whatever he wants. Aquaman and Deathstroke, they're okay, but they're great on a Flashpoint team with Batman. The thing is, on a full Flashpoint team, Deathstroke's actually the best character.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got the potential to generate so much damage on either his special 1 or even a basic tap attack combo, because he's got all those extra hits from his teammates, whereas Combo Ender is a ridiculous number of hits. He can easily generate a bar of power doing 1 tap combo.
Yeah.
Better than Batman on the team, and if he's not on a Flashpoint team with Batman, then he's worse.
Mm-hmm.
The part of Batman's passive that I think is underappreciated a little bit is turning off all aspects of healing, since, the boosted damage is amazing by itself. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need anything else. If that was nothing else in his passive, he'd still be the best character. So it works on Raven's Health Swap. So it works on both regeneration and resurrection too, not just things that are called healing.
Mm-hmm.
And despite not being mentioned, I don't think it's 100%. I think there's a chance. I'm not sure exactly what chance it is. And it makes up for it because even if it doesn't hit, like, let's say it's Astral Harness or Invulnerability, or they have a passive that dodges, like Rebirth Wally West, it still triggers. It triggers whether it's going to or not. Like, it has no impact. So it's both aspects are random. If somebody dodges, okay, there's a chance of it, but he'll still might get his Dark Justice. And if we were watching Corn and Gas and I was one of the characters, it would be 50-50.
Yeah,
right?
It either happens or it doesn't.
It either happens or it doesn't, and we have no idea. It's not really 50-50. That's the joke. The main counter against Flashpoint Batman is Red Sun Green Lantern on a full Red Sun team that negates any critical hits. But that team is tough defensively against everybody. It just feels worse on this team because you're just used to doing so much more damage, and when it's reduced to what other people or other teams have to do, it's just such a big drop.
Yeah, because you're spec'd more into crit than anybody else is.
Yep. So in our description, you'll have a playlist of the Flashpoint team, and you know what? If you do other Q&As, if you watch other Q&As, there's a lot of Q&As where we use this team as just our grinding team, and you'll see good footage of that. And we'll get to highlight them this week because it's Phantom Zone week, and we do that every time with our Phantom Zone team, which is the fastest, because if you give them Gauntlet, it's really easy to satisfy the Steel Health task with a couple of combo enders, and the basic attack damage task is, it's Flashpoint Batman.
Yeah, for sure. So there we go. So we've had 2 complete runs of a 43-week challenge cycle starting in May of 2020. We're 17 weeks into our 3rd cycle, so that's 103 weeks of an unbroken chain of just going through this challenge cycle over and over again. So if the pattern holds, next week will be John Stewart Green Lantern. And just a reminder, 23 challenge characters aren't part of that cycle. So there we go. This week's multiplayer award was Master's Death Card, which has the abilities after tag-in, enemy blocking stops 20% less damage for 6 seconds. A 100% area effect, opponent team takes 15% damage from your special attacks. Another 100% area effect, opponent's team takes 35% damage on your combo ender. And then the evolved ability, which is a 100% chance to deal 20% unblockable damage on tag-in.
Right.
It was last available on the 8th of October. We're 2 complete cycles through this, although there's only 31 rewards in this sequence. We're 9th week in the 3rd cycle, so that's been 71 weeks in a row. Next week should be Rebirth Wally West, as long as the schedule holds.
Right. Excellent 4.5-star gear.
One of the best.
Yeah. I keep on trying to, but I don't know if I'm going to move the needle on how people talk about gears, because when you evolve them, before you evolve them, they're a certain number of stars. After you evolve them, they're the star up. So sometimes it gets very confusing if you're not talking about 1 or 5-star gears, what you're talking about. So I like the nomenclature of 4.5 really tells you there's nothing else that hits that spot.
Yeah. It's the average gear level if you take all of its possible levels.
Right. So let's look at each of its abilities. So reduced blocking, I don't really notice that because what they call the unblockable tagging damage lets you get unblocked hits. Mm-hmm. Even if they're blocking when you tag in, if you wait for the right moment, they drop their block before they can hit you, and if you've got a bar of power, then you're golden. So the only exception is when they have bars of power and they do a special. So if you drop in and you're waiting for them to unblock and they've got power, chances are you're not going to be able to hit them. Yeah. The window's too small. If you're not blocking, they're going to hit you. The area effect on specials isn't as good as any other area effect. So for example, Fourth World Mace or League of Assassins Knives, they do the area effect, the splash damage, which is what we call it. They do it all at once.
Yeah.
But in Master's Death Card, it ticks off. So you can actually negate the area effect by tagging in the next person, and that person is no longer taking the area effect.
Yeah.
So the hidden part of this gear is that actually I should mention there's the lie in the gear, and the lie is that the unblockable damage on tag-in, it's not unblockable. You can totally block it. I don't even know why they say that. I guess if you're not blocking already before they tag in, so you can't block after they tag in, because once they've tagged in, it's too late.
Yeah.
They're already hitting you. So the hidden part of this gear is that the unblocked damage, and there's air quotes around that unblocked damage, that tag-in damage generates power for each hit.
It's like minorly unblockable, slightly unblockable.
Right. So it's great in multiplayer. It's not so great in offline multiplayer. You make power when you hit somebody else. In offline story mode, your opponent getting hit generates more power. Mm-hmm. So very much like last week's Static, whose best feature is stunning every time on a special one, the best feature of this gear is hidden, and that's the generating power. Mm-hmm. It's usually, if it's fully evolved, it's usually enough for 1 bar. It's close enough to 1 bar. But if you really want to make sure every time you get that extra bar, well, I guess you can't if you're fighting a power dampening team, but you want to have a power generating gear.
Or friend's passive.
Or a passive from one of your teammates to really guarantee you that extra bar. And then, I mean, you've been seeing us on the Q&A this week. Static is our example, but basically any specialist will benefit really big from this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moving on to the store, we've got the Rebirth Jessica Cruz Challenge Pack for 200,000 credits. It's a 6.16% chance versus a normal 2.86% chance. It doesn't unlock it in your store, and it's not worth it. It's not a good deal. So it's not a direct clue to what next week's challenge is going to be, but this has happened before, for example, last week. So it's not that big a deal. We're expecting the challenge to cycle to keep trucking.
To be John Stewart Green Lantern. So it's at least a close enough clue because it's a Green Lantern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's one of the least Green Lantern-y Green Lanterns.
Right, not even in her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also have the character bundle Batman versus Superman for $24.99 Canadian. It was last seen towards the end of 2021. Same price.
Towards the end or the beginning?
Oh, sorry, towards the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
February, that's my bad. And it comes with Dawn of Justice Batman, Dawn of Justice Superman, and the 2 Dawn of Justice gears, which is Batman's hooded cloak and the Clark Kent's glasses.
I can't fault you for that. I mean, we're also messed up in Canada because the cultural gravitational pull of the United States, where they do their
a year.
Yeah, they do it in the wrong order, is messing up the international standard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. We also have the Icebreaker pack for its 2nd week. We've got the Survivor pack in for its 18th week. The Character Bundle Batman Universe pack has been around for 23 weeks. The Most Wanted pack has been around for 30. And the 3 Nth Metal packs that normally get cycled through are all available. They've been available for either 16 weeks if you're Joker or Shazam, 18 weeks if you're Aquaman. Yeah. And last up in our Survivor, the League of Assassins gear set is available until the 18th of May, 2022.
Right. Phantom Zone, I that was a spoiler I actually gave early. Phantom Zone is back for 2 weeks. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough was Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Lobo as expected for the gold. So this coming weekend's probably going to be Lex Luthor, Batman, and Doomsday. Link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit started by the mod Devlin16 goes over a complete breakthrough cycle. And here's a spoiler. Nothing has changed in the glitches, hasn't for a long while, so we already did a summary of things and maybe some pointers in last week's, which we're going to be doing in the first week of each month, as long as there's no change. And if there is change, we'll update it when there is. Just isn't one this week. So that's it.
So there we go. And to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all the lovely folks who support us on Patreon. So that is BomboBen, Consul, Peasant, and Edwoon at the top tier last word, Sinemac and Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn, Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, Eddydoo, and Hoshi127 on the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer241, Pavu RS, Gavin, Mallott, and Isfar E at the gratitude level. Thanks so much for your support, and we'll see you next time.
Komoda.